Have you tried training your cats before? Yes, you can train cats. You may not think that you can train your cats if your cats aren't food motivated. I'm here to bust that myth and teach you some ways that you can train your cats without using treats. I do want to start by addressing the concept of cats that aren't food motivated. However, the main focus of the video today is going to be on talking about alternative methods of reinforcement. We're going to go over a few ideas of things that you can use instead of treats or food. At the very end, if you stick around, Poutine did some really cool training the other day, and I want to share it with you because it's a great example of training without treats as a reinforcer. Before we go into training without treats, I do want to address the idea of cats that aren't food motivated. If your cat is alive, they have to eat in order to make energy. Otherwise, they're photosynthesizing. And if they're photosynthesizing, they're probably a plant, not a cat. At some point, your cat does need to be motivated to eat. That doesn't mean that they're going to be motivated to eat everything, and they may not like every treat or every flavor of treat or every texture of treat. In other words, if you do want to use treats or food, because they are fairly easy, consider trying something that you haven't tried before. There are going to be some situations, though, where you don't want to use food, or you can't use food. In these situations, what can you use? I'm going to save the weirdest one, that also happens to be the coolest one, for the end of the video. However, some ideas for things that you can use include play, praise, attention, catnip or silvervine. You can also use choice. Choice seems weird, but cats like having control over their environment, and allowing them a choice is a very powerful way of getting them to do something that you want. Chances are you have accidentally trained your cat to do something using non-treats as a reinforcer. Think about something annoying that your cat does. Maybe they're going on your counters despite you using a spray bottle or yelling at them. Both of those are reinforcers. Even the spray bottle is a reinforcer. Why is that? It's because your cat is enjoying the attention, or they might think of it as a fun game. You're training your cat to do that. It doesn't matter if your intention is to stop it or if you're yelling and screaming at them, because if your cat enjoys it and they're like, ooh, I'm getting attention, they are going to eat that up. Having non-treat or non-food reinforcers is also great even if you are using treats or food as a reinforcer during a training session. Why is that? Your cat is going to become full at some point during the training session, or they may become satiated and be less interested in the treats that you're offering them. You're going to have to pivot between different types of treats and different types of food during the training session, doing something called a treat hierarchy, where you start with something that they kind of like and work your way up to the ultimate treat. However, you don't only have to use treats during these training sessions. You can throw in a few other things. It is helpful to have as many forms of reinforcement and as many ways to encourage your cat to do what you'd like as you can in your toolbox, and have them at the ready. Ultimately, your cat gets to decide what they're willing to work for, and you need to figure that out as a cat trainer. Now, I promised you some really cool training with Poutine here, and I am going to deliver on that now. I'm going to pull up a video of Poutine and I training. In this video, I'm going to turn the sound off on it, so I'm going to just tell you what's happening. Poutine is giving me high fives in exchange for me saying, thank you, Poutine, and then us doing forehead to forehead head bunts. Bunting is an affectionate behavior in cats, and it's where a cat rubs their forehead against something that they like, and oftentimes cats will do this with other cats. It's a way of a cat saying, hey, I like you, so Poutine is telling me that he likes me. Poutine is aggressively snuggly. I love that quality about him. He is very willing to work in exchange for bunts and allowing him to bunt me. This is an example of a behavioral science principle called Premack's principle. The Premack principle says that allowing an animal or a human access to doing a wanted or a more likely behavior can reinforce a behavior that is less likely to happen. Reinforcement, by definition, means that a behavior increases. So if the behavior is increasing in response to being allowed to do another behavior, you are reinforcing the cat. If this is kind of weird and confusing, let's think of an example that you may have actually had happen to you. Think back to your childhood when you were in primary school or elementary school or whatever you called it where you're from. Chances are when you got home from school, you had homework or you had something that you needed to do. It might have been another chore, it may have been something else, but homework is an easy example. Chances are whoever raised you said something along the lines of, If you go do your homework, you can play video games afterwards, or you can go outside, or you can paint, or you can subscribe to Joey's channel, or something else that's really, really reinforcing. Whatever it was, that's a great example of the Premack principle. You were allowed to do something in exchange for something else. Now, I personally am not a math person, so it would take a lot for me to do my math homework, but that's a separate topic entirely. Regardless of what it is, all that matters is that the behavior increases in the learner. And in this case, we're talking about humans, but it applies to cats too. Poutine was willing to high-five me in exchange for head buns. It doesn't matter if that seems weird, because he's the one who gets to decide what motivates him. I've had clients that have had cats that we've used the Premack principle before, and we've done some weird things. I have one really memorable cat that sticks out in my mind because we used access to going outside and sniffing petunias as our reinforcer, because that was the thing that the cat really liked, and she really didn't seem to like a lot of other things. And this was a awesome client of mine that tried so many different treats, genuinely tried basically everything. I swear that they were single-handedly keeping Chewy in business. Their cat really didn't seem to like a lot of treats. Instead, we found the thing that motivated her, even if it was a little strange. Ultimately, you have to work with the cat that is in front of you. If your cat is only willing to work for something kind of odd, and they don't really want to work for treats or food or whatever it is that you're offering them, you need to shift gears. You'll be less frustrated, and you'll be a better cat trainer for it.